My name's Christy Ho and I'm a research scientist at Agriculture Victoria. Our research here has been looking at better ways of feeding cows during the first 100 days of lactation through supplementation. By using these diet strategies, we think there's a potential to increase the average herd production from where it currently sits at about 6,000 litres per cow per lactation to closer to the potential for cows in a graze system of 10,000 litres per cow per lactation. The target from this research is to increase milk income over feed costs by $2 per cow per day for the first 100 days of lactation, with carryover benefits of $100 per cow for the rest of the lactation, plus an additional $50 per cow from improved metabolic health. This is an overall economic benefit of about $350 per cow per lactation. So for a 300 cow herd, this will be worth $105,000 additional profit per year. We call this work the First 100 Days project. The research is being conducted at Ellenbank in Gippsland, Victoria, but the findings will be applicable to all dairy systems where cows graze pasture and are supplemented with grain fed in the dairy. The first 100 days after calving is an important time for the dairy cow. During this period, the cow is being asked to produce a lot of milk, and to achieve this, she needs to start eating very quickly after calving and avoid health problems. A significant challenge is how to do this profitably. The key to this project was to see if we could increase the dry matter intake of every cow in the herd. The strategies we looked at to achieve this were to mix different supplements to try and provide an optimal mix of nutrients to cows and get them eating quickly. Our research is focused on three key areas. First, dairy cow nutrition in the first 21 days of lactation, or the fresh cow period. Second, dairy nutrition from 22 to 100 days of lactation, or the early lactation period. And finally, we've looked at the impact of nutrition on metabolic health and reproductive performance of the dairy cow. The biggest nutritional challenge in the fresh cow period is maximising dry matter intake as quickly as possible after calving. So we tested fresh cow feeding strategies. This included incorporating maize grain in the diet, as opposed to wheat grain, which is commonly fed in Australia. Our initial experiment, which involved a maize grain and canola meal-based supplement, didn't give the performance we were expecting, but the main forage source was a low-quality pasture silage. When the silage was replaced with a higher quality, lower fibre legume hay, this made a big difference to dry matter intake, and the cows ate over 20 kilos even when wheat grain was a supplement. We also saw increased milk production of up to 2 litres per cow per day during the first 21 days of lactation, and this effect persisted from 22 to 70 days in milk when cows changed to a common diet. Our second key finding was that feeding a grain mix of wheat, barley and canola meal in early lactation outperformed the cows fed wheat only and resulted in about $45 more profit per cow between 22 and 100 days in milk. Research looked at different components in grain mixes, and we found that a mix of 25% wheat, 50% barley and 25% canola meal to be the most profitable when feeding 9 kilos of dry matter per cow per day, compared with feeding a grain mix of 25% wheat and 75% barley. Importantly, we found that including maize in the mix during this early lactation period gave no economic advantage. These cows also continued to perform better after all cows moved to a common diet after 100 days in milk. Cows on a feeding strategy where the amount of grain mix offered was adjusted weekly during the early lactation period based on the contribution to profit outperformed all other strategies. In total, we estimate this could increase profit by around $180 per cow over the whole lactation compared with feeding wheat only. When we added the economic benefits from improved metabolic health and herd reproduction to the benefits from milk production, we found there was around $150 per cow from feeding the maize and canola meal-based supplement in the fresh cow period and the wheat, barley and canola meal grain mix in early lactation, an enormous potential. There are a few things that farmers could consider when managing the nutrition of their dairy cows. In the fresh cow period, consider feeding maize grain with high quality forages, such as lower fibre legume forages or a high quality pasture to achieve high intakes. During the early lactation period, consider a grain mix of wheat, barley and canola meal, as this seems to be better than a mix of wheat and barley only for milk production and profit. And finally, adjusting the amount of supplement when profit declines can potentially provide increased economic benefit. In other words, offering higher producers more feed in early lactation and removing grain from lower producing cows later in lactation. In terms of future work, we're currently running an experiment to see if we can further refine individualised feeding and find additional economic gains for dairy farmers. Our aim is to identify another $100 per cow through optimising individual dairy cow feeding, and we'll also be aiming to validate our preliminary research findings related to improved metabolic health and reproductive performance. If you're interested in finding out more about the First 100 Days project or any of the other dairy feed-based research projects and how you can implement the findings within your business, I encourage you to visit the dairyfeedbase.com.au website or get in touch with the Regional Development Team at Dairy Australia.